What's up guys, we're back with another tutorial and a little bit of somewhat speed art. I'll go a little bit slower on this one so I can kind of get more in depth with what I did in my process. This is a picture that came from the video where me and Casey went into Charlotte and went along that light trail and found the chairs that light up. And so this is a picture of her obviously leaning on one of the chair lights, and this is how I made the edit with it. So first we're going into the Camera Raw filter, and that's probably the first thing I do with every picture. On one picture I make it really soft and make everything like, you know, light and take away some of the detail and things like that. And then I copy that picture, put the same one over top. I go back into the Camera Raw filter. I bring the texture up and the clarity up to make some features stand out a little more. For instance, her lips and her eyes on here, that just kind of makes them pop and gives them a little bit more color. I mean, obviously depending on what you do with the smart filter, that's what'll happen. And then so I put that over top of the other one and then use a mask and paint in obviously just like her eyes and her lips to make those stand out a little bit. And then here I'm using a selective color to color the overall picture, going through all the sliders and just kind of like messing around, seeing what looks the best. And that's kind of like color grading, or that's kind of like putting the first filter on, and then I group it all together and use another selective color and mess around with that. And that's kind of like putting my own LUT or color grade over top of that. Here I have the picture of what looks like pool water. I thought it looked cool, and I thought it'd be cool and unique to make that like the light source, or make that the chair. Obviously, like, you know, if no one's ever seen the video or anything like that, they don't really know what's going on here, and so they just know it's a light source of some sort that she's leaning up against. And so here I'm making it look like just like crispy blue water. I liked that texture, and so there I warped it to make it look like it was in line with the perspective of the chair there. And you kind of have to mess around and like make the lines obviously line up with the leading lines of the chair and that sort of thing. And then here, this is another little like clip I found of what kind of looks like an eye. And I thought it looked cool, and like obviously if it was a little bit bigger, it would have looked better. But it gives the eye like some texture, and it makes it pop even more. And I was kind of like just trying to mess around, see what works. I thought this would enhance the photo or the edit a little bit more than it did, because it has some movement in it and it looks really cool, like, you know, when you can actually see what's going on. But it was so small that you couldn't even really tell. But I guess, like, you know, it's very like a low-key, it kind of makes the eyes low-key pop. And I changed the color obviously from like, what was that, like gold, like red gold or whatever, to her eye color, or closer to like blue green. And obviously like all this is overdone, but that's kind of the point, and that's kind of my style, you know. I try not to do it too over the top, but this one was definitely over the top, even for me. So anyway, I put those over her eyes and then masked them to her the colored parts of her eyes to make it look, you know, at least somewhat realistic. Obviously it's not going to look super realistic. And then here, this is where I'm making the timeline and extending out the water. The water clips were only so long, and I wanted to make it a 10-second clip, so there I was extending them and then copying them to make it last the whole 10 seconds. And then the rest of these clips, you can see with the purple bars down here, those I was pulling out to 10 seconds. And for some reason, whenever I open up this timeline thing, like nothing extends past 5 seconds, so you have to extend them all separately, and it's really annoying. But anyway, there I'm putting another water layer and making it super faint and using the multiply blending mode on her to give like almost like a reflection look, just to make it even more realistic and look like, you know, the water is bouncing off of her face, or the light from the water is bouncing off of her face. And then this is another texture I found, and the green was super annoying to remove, but I used the blend if sliders to work that in. Actually, I don't know if I guess I did end up leaving that on there. And then I definitely made some more changes, but I changed it to like the perspective of the chair, and I wanted it to be kind of going from the bottom, looking like, I wanted it to look like almost water and bubbles like flowing from the bottom part of the chair to the side part of the chair, like over her like face and hair a little bit and hand a little bit. And this is where I got to. Obviously I'm like blending it into the chair a little more. I obviously changed the color a little bit because her eyes are like a mixture of blue green almost. So I just tweaked the color at the very end, and that's what I came up with. Thanks for watching, and if you want to learn more and see more cool edits, subscribe and like this video, and just tell me what you want to see, and tell me like if you didn't know how to do something, let me know and I'll try and make more videos about that or respond to your comments on how I did it, and see you in the next one.